Hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Cellar TV. What we're trying today is a really interesting wine, like always, from the brand new winery to us, Pheasant. Pheasant winery is from Georgia, the Chinuri region, which is right in inland Georgia. Very, very exciting, because we don't usually get to see, Georgian wines, but also wines from that part of the world, not just in New Zealand, but also around the world, because they are often just made for purely domestic consumption and are very, very sort of difficult or very rarely exported out. But it's exciting, one, to be trying Georgian wines here today in New Zealand, but also be able to try Pheasant, which are highly regarded and regarded as perhaps the best winery in all of Georgia, which is quite exciting. Anyway, so this wine and all of the other wines from Pheasant winery are all made from beautiful, beautiful and exciting and rather interesting indigenous grape varietals. So just for those of you that don't know anything about Georgia, Georgia is actually the oldest wine producing region in the world. It's been producing wines for about 8,000, if not slightly longer amount of time, so about 8,000 years, which is a very, very long time. And so that's quite exciting, really, if you think about it. Anywho, so this particular wine is made from, and I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this right at all, but it is Chinuri, I'm pretty sure, or Chinuri. Yes, anyway, it was interesting because I actually asked a Georgian friend of mine. They weren't actually particularly sure on this particular grape varietal, so he was pretty sure it was Chinuri or something like that. Anyway, I do apologize. I'm an Englishman, so I do apologize if I didn't do that right. Now, what is quite interesting, and if anyone is familiar with sort of Georgian wines is the fact that they tend to make wines, or their white wines, in an amber wine or an orange wine way, meaning that a lot of the grape skins are actually macerated within the grape juice themselves and fermented in them like a red wine, which gives the wines a really amber hue. Now, this particular wine is quite luscious and quite intensely gold in character, or in color I should say, but it's not an amber wine at all. So this is actually just a straight white wine made from this Chinuri grape varietal, which is quite exciting. Anyway, let's give it a little bit of a sniff. Really, really beautiful in the nose. There's lots going on here. Sort of this beautiful apple and sort of pear characteristics. So if you are a fan of Pinot Grigio, I'm going to suggest that you try this out. As I said, lots of pear characteristics. A little bit of nectarine, a little bit of peach, but generally speaking, lots and lots of apples and pears here. Actually, what's quite surprising, because it does get quite hot up in Georgia, in the Chinuri region, especially up in the mountains, is that it has got a lot of what we would call minerality, a lot of that sort of terroir aspect to it. So a little bit of this sort of crushed stones, a little bit of wet wool here, but that's all very much in the background. It is very much fruit forward. There's a little bit of a floral aspect to it, so a little bit of sort of like citrus blossom, but really it is just sort of the beautiful sort of tree fruit, those apples, those pears, a little bit of apricot here too. Anyway, let's give it a little bit of a taste. So on the palate, it's lively, it's refreshing. It's really, really quite gorgeous, actually. And it's delicious. Lots of those appley sort of characteristics, those pear characteristics are really, really sort of coming through. On the palate, for me, there's a lot more of that sort of stone fruity characteristic. So again, there's apricots, a little bit of peach coming through, which is really, really quite lovely on the palate. In fact, there's actually a little bit of sort of like a baked bread characteristic as well, which really sort of helps to bring it all together. And it is sort of medium-bodied wine, but it's still got decent acidity here, which means it is lovely sort of and refreshing. Nice and chilled down. I think this is the perfect drink for something like summer, which is really, really quite exciting. Anyway, so this has been the Chinuri. Again, I do apologize if I am pronouncing that wrong. I really, really, really do apologize for that. But this is really, really fantastic and really, really sort of modern wine, I'm going to say, because generally speaking, from my experience with Georgia, I've tried a few before, probably a lot more than a lot of people outside of Georgia have tried. And this is perhaps one of the more modern sort of styles of white wines that I've tried out of Georgia, which is quite exciting. Very, very not what, well, very much not what you would expect, I imagine, from Georgia. So it is quite exciting to be able to see that contrast there in many, many ways. This is very modern, very fruit-forward, very zippy. Yeah, really, really lovely. And I can completely understand now exactly why Pheasant's Tears are regarded as perhaps the best winery in all of Georgia, or at least the Kakite region in Georgia. And this wine, if you are wanting to grab a bottle yourself, or any of the other bottles and wines, I should say, from Pheasant's Tears, the link to all of them are down below. So please do check them all out. Pheasant's Tears, absolutely excellent. All the wines there, we've line priced them all to make it nice and easy for you, and we've also put them into a little 6-pack deal because we have got 6 of their wines, a couple of white wines, a couple of those orange wines or amber wines, and a red wine there as well. All of them really interesting, really very, very, very unique, and all actually $45 each. As I said, we did line price them for you, making it nice and easy. Anyway, I've been Connal. This has been the Cellar TV. Cheers.